back. Raiding the nations of Equestria at war. Gonna be fun. I'm not gonna waste any time with preamble or anything. We're gonna jump right in. So, Griefwald. This is what you see to start. A tiny Air Force tree, a tiny army tree that's focused on research as opposed to giving direct bonuses. You get a couple, but you don't get a lot. And the standard 25 army experience standard, like there should always be something added to this besides 20. I like that it's 35 days, but there always should be something added to that besides 25 army XP. Your economy tree is tiny. You're a smaller nation. But your political tree is amazeballs. You have decisions to make. On top of this, there's a secret tree where you get to summon demons and actually sick demons on people. This is great. So that's amazing. Like most nations we're going to go over, naval tree needs a rework. Like the last thing you get is 25 Navy. What? 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 Yeah, that's terrible. Air Force tree probably could use some expansion because all you get in it is research and a couple air bases. This should probably be expanded upon. Army tree is nearly entirely one of your research slots is in the army tree, but everything in the army tree but these two is research. There's nothing like this needs to be reworked. And your economy tree here is good, but it's not great. Griefwald does, however, have hidden trees. So let's go to those, because those are going to make or break Griefwald as far as I'm concerned. So let's go take a look here. So this is the initial tree, and then you have a completely separate focus for changelings and actually summoning demons. You're encouraged to go supremacist with them. Or go non-aligned changelings. I love it. 10 out of 10. As far as the expanded alternate trees are. The primary tree needs some reworks. It needs a rework. This is what you're going to find with a lot of these. Is B is going to be a really long column. C is going to be a shorter column. D and F is almost going to be non-existent. A and S is going to be probably longer than A because it's either going to be an S or it's going to be something below that, or it's going to be a B or lower. Okay, we have, I believe that is Longsword or Hellquill. Longsword. Longsword on the surface doesn't look that good. Like this is what it looks like on the surface. This is not the longsword tree. Okay? This is not the longsword tree. That's just not it. That's not what longsword's about. Who wants to see what longsword's about? I bet you all do. So let's show you. Longsword starts a civil war almost immediately. You have separate communism, non-aligned, and supremacist trees, and then they have expansive, well-done post-Civil War trees, and then there's even another tree past that if you manage to take over Hellquill. Longsword, 10 out of 10 would play again. Crystal Empire. Nope. I won't even play the Crystal Empire. I will not even play this nation. It sucks. The tree is too short. The focuses are massive 70-day focuses, and the tree is still just too short. I wouldn't play it. I would not play. I refuse to play the Crystal Empire. I see some people who do, and I always feel sorry for them. because the Crystal Empire trees suck. All of them. The Crystal Empire needs a full overhaul, start to finish. Because, like, there's cool things about the Crystal Empire. Like, if you live long enough, you can make Flurry Heart one of your advisors. Are there hidden trees for the Crystal Empire? Yes. Yes, there are. But some of them suck too. I'm not trying to discourage you from playing the Crystal Empire, and I understand some people have fun playing the Crystal Empire. That's fair. But I hate it. I honestly do not enjoy the Crystal Empire from my perspective as a player. Because there are some hidden trees here. There's the Solar Puppet Tree. There's the Lunar Puppet Tree. If there's a Civil War, there's the Sombra Tree. And all of them are just too short and have too little going for them. It feels like the Crystal Empire should become a major at some point, and the trees just don't lead up to you becoming a major. But it genuinely feels like they should become a major, and the trees just don't support it. And that's what really makes it fall apart for me. So Crystal Empire, this needs its full overhaul. All right, Diamond Dog Mountain. I've played them twice that I can remember. I might have played them more than that. Diamond Dog Mountain. Like all the River Republic nations, it's very expansive. You always have this River Federation integration tree in all of them. I feel like this is good. I feel like it could use a little tweak here and there, but this is always good. First off, you're a land. You have a harbor. This is your naval tree. The symbol for destroyers isn't even a destroyer. It's just a submarine with a skull. So naval tree, full rework, like full redo. Air Force tree is all about research. It gives you some air bases, but it's all research. There should be something here besides research. There really should be something there. The Army tree, I like that there's this decision out the gate. It should be extended just a little bit. But other than that, Army tree is mostly okay. You get the same bonus that Silestria does for artillery and anti-tank, so you're not slowed down as much. You get a reduction in cost to artillery. This is something that's always unclear. If you're going to label something as towed artillery, this is called towed artillery in the production screen. Please make it more clear to the player that it's not just this, but it affects all artillery or doesn't. But don't just label it towed artillery, because then the player doesn't think that so I've seen players who don't realize that yes, it still applies to your upgraded, improved, advanced, and modern artillery guns, but because it's something else called towed artillery in the production screen, they think it only applies to the Tech 1. But I feel like there should be something. There should be more here, and there should be better. There should be a little more expansion, particularly to the Army tree. The industry tree, I love this. You have decisions out the gate. You have more decisions later that lock you in, and then you have this really emphasized decision to get to modernized society. The communist tree. I mean, it's communism. You're basically going to kill the royal family or exile them. It has a real emphasis on getting you more pony power, which is great. I don't necessarily like that it's this short, but I do like what's in here. Same thing for the Princess Regent and Hale Mountain King trees. I don't like that they're this short. I do like that there are some decisions that have to be made that lock you in. I do like that. I just wish that they were a little more expansive, especially since you saw New Maryland's tree, so that's what you're kind of expecting for a minor nation, and this is what you get. I also don't like that a lot of these are 70-day focuses. A lot of them are 70-day focuses. So Diamond Dogs, it's going to be a B. Needs more added to it. Needs a little rework. Other than that, it's okay, but it's going to be a B. Lunar Empire. Lunar Empire. Oh, Disciples of the Night. Excuse me. This is Disciples of the Night. This is the Lunar Empire support nation. This is the best done breakaway formable nation from the Equestria Civil War. Hands down. There is genuine love and care. There is an emphasis on surviving past the war and actually being an independent nation. This is good. So yeah, that gets put up here with S tier. Dread League. Show you. Dread League. I get their mechanics and what they're supposed to be. I understand their story and everything. I feel like their tree as it stands is okay. There should be a third option, in my opinion, for the Dread League to decide that an eternal fight against the Wendigo is worth it. I understand this would take a lot of programming and everything, but I really feel like there should be a third option for Rosa to decide that instead of annihilating everything, she will stand against the Wendigo for eternity, and she allies with the Octarian Order, and that would give the Octarian Order and her some real flavor. That you could do that and be much more active instead of... Dread League, basically, for 8 or 9 years, you sit there. You do your focuses, and you sit there, and you build, and you build, and you build, and then you Zerg. And you hope your Zerg is enough to overwhelm everyone. But I really feel like there should be another option besides building and Zerging for the Dread League to decide that life is worth having and to defend all of Equestria. So it's good. I'm going to rate it up here as a B. It just needs that other alternative path that everyone else seems to have. Okay, Equestrian Liberation Front. This is a formable nation, so you're not going to see it at the start of the game. Yeah, this was genuinely a treat to play. This was refreshing and wonderful. I have almost nothing bad to say about it. I wish there was a proper Navy tree past this, so that you could import more equipment. I also wish there was a way for the Equestrian Liberation Front to immediately invite a surviving New Maryland to faction or be invited to their faction so you could have an immediate ally. So this is good. Needs a little tweak, but it's actually really good. Equestria. I'm playing. I loaded in as Equestria. Let's get another major out of the way. Equestria has had the same focus tree almost since the game started. Almost since the inception. It's boring. Big old 70-day focuses all littered throughout it. Players don't like playing Equestria because this initial focus tree is just... I could do without it. I could do without it. There are some things I would change here. First off, I would decrease the number of 70-day focuses. You got some 49s and some 42s in here, and that's great. And then even some 21s. I would definitely have that. I would cut these airfield focuses in half. I would cut some of these down from 70-day focuses, and especially I would actually up the preemptive strike focus to longer to compensate for that. So yeah, I would cut some of these focuses down. Particularly in a multiplayer game, in a multiplayer sense, this doesn't hold up because if the Equestrian player is new or not very good, and the Changeling player is at least competent, they'll just run them over. Like a newer player playing Equestria always feels overwhelmed with all the other management going on, and their national focuses don't help it. So I feel like some of these should be shortened. The Crystal Empire focuses, when I take these, they should give the Crystal Empire more focus trees, more stuff to do. I feel like the Yakistan tree is good. I feel like the Dragon tree, the Dragon Nation lands need a focus to begin with. Need a freaking focus tree to begin with. They've been here forever and don't have a tree. They still watch this. So the Dragon lands have been here since the game inception. Have been here. Generic pony focus tree. That's frustrating. I get it. They're one island. I understand, and I understand the focus is to import Zebrica down here first and foremost. But once that's done, we should probably, give the Dragonlands a focus tree and maybe give them a few more islands to work out of. But yeah, I don't like Equestria's focus tree. It always seems boring to play unless you go Solar Empire or Equestrian Civil War, or you break off and do something else. Because I'm going to show you this. So Equestria's base focus tree is always intimidating and just not great. But if I go to the wiki, there's decisions to be made that I can end up with this, which this is amazing. I can also jump on and overthrow. I can go Daybreaker and get the Solar Empire. I can go Nightmare Moon and get the Lunar Empire, or even just straight up Luna because Daybreaker showed up and now Luna is fighting back. There's other focus trees here that are hidden that are actually better than the base tree. There's a communist tree with Starlight Glimmer. So there's other trees here with Equestria that are hidden that are better, and I would encourage the devs to make it more obvious that those trees exist and to rework. Like, Equestria needs a rework. I'm going to say adequate, but needs an update. Okay, Valcor. Don't you like that I actually know most of these nations because I played them? Valcor, hands down, this is one of the best Griffin trees in the game. Straight up. Hands down. Best Griffin tree, one of the best Griffin trees in the game. You've got a detailed Navy tree that includes Naval Air Force, even though it's mostly, I think it's almost entirely research and dockyards. There's no national spirits in here. But you got that. You've got an Air Force tree that includes air bases. It's, again, almost entirely research with an ending national spirit that requires you to get everything. The Army is research. So the Army tree, I feel like the Army tree could use a rework just so it's not so much research bonuses as it is actual national focuses that give a playstyle. The economy tree is great. You get national focuses, factories, researches. This is actually incredibly well designed. And the political tree is fucking amazing. I didn't write this, and I think this is great. So, Valcor, it's going to fall in the A category. It needs some tweaks for its Army, Navy, and Air Force, but its political tree, don't fuck with that. All right, up here, Farbrook. Farbrook is one of the few potential allies to the River Republic. They are not a River Republic member. I don't believe they are. Yeah, they're not a River Republic member, but one of the few potential allies to the River Republic and the River Federation, if it's founded, that are completely detailed out, well thought out, well understood, and just good. This is a rarity to say for Equestria War, but even their naval tree doesn't need a lot of rework. It gives a couple national spirits. It gives a conscious decision to the player. It gives dockyards. And it gives decisions to allow you to get free capital ships. Their Air Force tree is actually the one that needs the rework. but their Navy tree is actually pretty decent. It only needs like a minor tweak or two. Their Army tree is great for the rest of the game, but this is. So they definitely fall into the S tier. Yeah, the Air Force tree needs a rework, but Farbrook definitely falls into the S tier for trees. It doesn't need it just needs a little bit added to it. But other than that, it's excellent. All right, I believe that is the Freetown of Griff. No, I was wrong. Who is my next victim here? Who is that? I know it's a seafaring nation. I mean, that should be obvious from the Trident. I just might not have played them very much. I think they're a Griffin nation? At least I'm pretty sure they are. They're not one of the Aquilian Ducheries. Hang on, let me look this up. Who is that? I feel dumb now. We actually ran into one that I don't immediately know. Oh, the Federated Parishes. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. In single player, alright, so Hearts of Iron Crash, that was the problem. So the Federated Parishes is who this is. Let's talk about the Federated Parishes. I have never seen them do anything besides Puppet, Blackrock, Equestria, and the Minotaurs, and then just sit there. Like, I don't understand why they don't face off against the Griffin Liberation Army or Fascist Wing Party. I don't understand why they don't do that. Because I think it's actually in here. Yeah, it's actually in here to go get Griffinstone. And I've never actually seen them go down here and get Griffinstone. But this is actually a fun tree. It's got decisions in every section of it. It's got ideas and national spirits in every part of it. It's got all sorts of stuff littered throughout it. The army tree gives national spirits as well as research. Say that and it takes all the way down here before we hit that national spirit thing. And it gives factories. Like the army tree's great. The Navy tree is one of the few that I will look you dead in the face and go, nah, this is a good Navy tree. I mean, there's some old references that could be thrown out of it, but it's a good Navy tree. Air Force tree is actually terrible. Like, compared to the Navy tree? What the fuck? But yeah, this is an amazing tree. So this is good. Needs a little tweak, but it's actually good. So it's gonna go up here in my A tier. Fir tree. Fir tree, I think, is gonna be our next S tier here. Fir tree is gonna, yeah, because most of the tree is hidden. But you can make a pilgrimage to Mage Hole and actually ally with the Dread League. You can stay and become an ally to the River Republic over here. This is actually good. Fir tree is actually good, and it's going to be in the nice little S tier ranking up here. Ramau. Ramau. What do I have to say about you? I think you have the same problem as the Griffonian Empire. It's just not as exacerbated. Because a lot of these say 56-day focus, but you have to complete almost all of them. Ramau has no... I don't think you have any... You have a little bit of territorial expansion to fight the Empire and seize Griffinheim, but you have no other territorial expansion, and you're not gonna. And when you go to fight the Empire or seize Griffinheim, you're not gonna win. You just lose every time. So Ramau, in my opinion, I'm gonna show you this again because I realized I didn't flip it over. This is Yale, actually. Yale's great. Ramau is. It's a nice roleplay tree. But if you're playing Ramau in a multiplayer game, I don't know why you're playing this in a multiplayer game. This is, I think Ramau is going to be our first. Ramau needs to be redone from scratch. I'm sorry. I know somebody worked hard on this, but it needs a full rework. Let's look at the town of Griffiths, because basically, remember, Equestria at War is a completely, like, it's basically its own game, just built in the Hearts of Iron engine. The Free Town of Griffiths, I've played them. They're actually fun. Their naval tree is mostly well thought out. Their army and air force tree, the way they're all integrated together, this is actually pretty well done to be a smaller minor nation and have them integrated together. One hand helps the other type of deal. Their economy tree is great. It gives a decision right off the bat. Their political tree gives decisions that you have to go through. Overall, this is a very good minor nation if you're going to play it in multiplayer with allies, or even just playing it in single player as a roleplay experience. Griffiths, S tier, might need a little tweak here or there, but I have nothing really bad to say about them. Moving on. Duchy of Fethisra. This is great. If the Empire goes Gabriella, this is amazing. If the Empire goes Ramau, this is also fun because then you get to fight them. And I think there's a hidden tree. Let me double check. So I'm not eating my words here, but I think there's a hidden tree for these guys. I think I'm not 100%, but I'm gonna double check it here. But I believe there's a hidden tree for these guys that makes them literally over the top S tier. I just need to verify it because I haven't played them enough to know all. I haven't played them I've played 500 hours of this, and I still haven't played enough countries enough times to know every little detail about all of them. Okay. Yes, there is a hidden tree for Civil War, and there's a hidden tree for a failure. But you can actually ally with the Griffonian Empire and then decide to integrate or not. But there is a little hidden tree. But this is Grand Duchy of Fethisra, fantastic. Particularly if you're trying to play a multiplayer game with friends, this is fantastic. Okay, I actually don't know you. We've run into an... Oh. Okay. These guys can go fuck themselves. This tree is... The Duchy of Griffinheim. First off, they don't even own Griffinheim. Second, I think some of their focus tree is hidden, but I don't know that for a fact. I've played them once. It was not an enjoyable experience. Yeah, a bunch of their focus tree is actually hidden. But this is what you have to look at to start with. They have this expansive naval tree, but they're landlocked. And it's all their naval tree is for research. They again have the napalm effect. And high altitude training gives air doctrine, but not a national. This feels like it should give a national spirit, not doctrine. You're encouraged to do paratroopers with them. I mean, you're playing Griffins, of course you're encouraged to do paratroopers. They're one of the few nations that actually get a jet research bonus, but it's still not a national. There's not a lot of national spirit anywhere in here. But then when I go look at their hidden stuff, watch this. This is a hidden tree. You can't see this at the start. You can't see this at the start. Just to show you, this is them. You can't see all this at the start, and that's what makes it really annoying to play. Is you don't know what you're actually going to do. This is okay, but it needs some tweaks and some rework. Greencliff. Snips loves playing these guys. I can understand why. They're a very good roleplay experience. My personal opinion, their trees are too short, and their trees really too heavily rely on other countries saying yes. In a multiplayer game, Greenland is good. Greenland is good and fine to play, especially if you actively choose who you're allying with, and go the path. In a single player game, Green Cliff is just painful to play because you're like, I want to go down this path, and then you're barred from it because the AI just said no. And there's nothing you can do about it. So Green Cliff is definitely like a multiplayer, but is not a single player experience. And also their air and navy trees are, well, they're okay. I wouldn't call them great. I call them okay. Their navy tree does give you a free battleship, but I really feel like this should be a naval-focused nation. Just because you're on a freaking island and you have more than one territory area, you should be a naval-focused nation, and you're not. Not to mention, you start off with so little factories, it's hard to do anything. I feel like this should be this should be without any puppets. Like, if you took out all the puppets, this should be the Great Britain of Equestria at war. Like, there should be a little more island up here to it, and it should legitimately be able to become a powerhouse of a naval nation, and it can't. But if you're playing a multiplayer game and you're having other players actively help you go down your path, this is great. Like, if you have a changeling player and you want to play with them, this is a great thing to do with them. This is a great tree. If you have if you have a bunch of harmony players and you want to actively play with them, this is a great tree to go down. It's fun. But I feel like without that, it's just kind of... It's good enough. Multiplayer game, yes, Green Cliff would be up here with A tier. Single player game, Green Cliff is down in a B tier. And we're gonna go with the B tier because I've been told repeatedly by the devs. I'm a writer, I'm not a dev, but I've been told repeatedly by the devs, Equestria at War is built for a single player experience first and foremost. Fair. Okay, I'm trying to find this country's flag. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? It's not the Sunstrikers. Oh. Okay, so Griffonian Frontier is probably one of the... is a very big meme to me. I love it. Like, your first focus is either... you grovel for help, and either you're up the creek without a paddle, or you get help. And up the creek without a paddle is by far the funnest time you can have with them, and it goes and goes and goes, and it, like, just when you think things have gotten better and they can't get worse, they get worse. So. Griffonian Frontier, load of fun, and unless you get help from Nova Griffonia and basically join them, you basically go supremacy or communist and then go absolute ham. So Griffonian Frontier, S tier. This is great. This is an amazing experience. It goes up in S tier. You notice a lot of things are going in S tier. I told you they would. B tier 2. Prywin. Prywin feels like what the People's Communist Revolution would be if it happened in 1800 Yugoslavia. It's fun. It's really well done for a political tree. It's really well done for expansionists. I'll show you this. It's really well done for territory expansion. And the fate of these things is basically saying, do we attack them or do we have them join us? Like, how does that work out? It is a load of fun from beginning to end. Like a lot of these, the naval tree needs some rework. But I can live with it, especially since they don't start with aircraft or any naval ships. Rice field training. just to emphasize, you know, welcome to the rice fields. Yeah, that's what's going on. I love this tree. So the GLA, definitely one of the funnest nations you can play. Especially if you're playing a multiplayer game and you want someone to lead the communists. GLA, straight up. Like, it's amazing fun. Okay. Next major, Griffonian Empire. We finally got to a major. Now, on the surface, the Griffonian Empire looks fantastic. It's deep. It takes time. It looks well thought out. On the surface, Griffonian Empire would be 10 out of 10. Looking past the surface, it's not. A lot of these focuses are 50-day, and you would think that would be reasonable. And then you realize how many focuses you have to take. So if I go Duchess, if I go Duchess, because this is the most common path for me for the Griffonian Empire, because I hate the Archon for various reasons, I still have to take every focus from these two over. I have to take them all. Have to take every one of these, then fight a war. Have to take every one of these, but the choice here between extra land doctrine, a military college, and a true research institute. I have to take all of these, and then I can take Under Clear Sky and Rising Empire. And your naval, like, this takes too long, is what I'm getting at. All of these are 50-day focuses, and there's just too long in here. Some of these should clearly be 35-day focuses or 21-day focuses, and they're not. They're all 50. They're 50 across the board. And then these are 30, and then the next ones after them are immediately back to the 50 rule. The actual amount of time it takes to get from here, regardless of which side you go, to here, if you are able to take one of these focuses every single day nonstop, is nearly past the point where Grover the Sixth becomes emperor and this tree goes away and you get Grover the Sixth tree. Getting this over here, this is where your other research slot is. You have to at least take this to get your other research slot, and you're going to want to take this to get your population, because if you don't take this, you're going to run out of pony power. And this in here is how you get your industry really firing on all cylinders. This is close to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This by itself is 4 years of focuses. This is nearly 1,000 days of focus. This is almost 3 full years. Excuse me, 3 full years of focus right here. Because these aren't 70, these are 50-day focuses. This is almost 3 full years by itself. Navy focuses are all 50 days, every one of them. And they're not actually 50 days. To build up your Navy is all of these focuses at 50 days plus 365 days. Because even if I do this focus, I'm still locked out of this until this finishes. It's 365-day spirit. So if I need an emergency Navy, for some reason, particularly in multiplayer games, you really need to get a Navy because you're probably going to end up fighting whoever wins. Whoever wins Equestria or the Changeling Lands, you're going to end up probably fighting them in a multiplayer game. Or in a non-standard game where you don't have the AI set to historical focuses, you're also going to end up fighting them. This one naval focus wrecks the entire naval tree. Like, the rest of this is good. You get increased doctrine research, daily naval experience. That's good. A temporary boost to dockyard output and construction. A permanent national spirit that gives you more consumer goods. You got your researches in here. I wish there weren't as many of them for research. You have a national spirit at the end. And you have a choice at the very beginning if you want reliable but more expensive ships, or cheap ships that are less reliable. This is everything past this one focus is great. Most everything. I wish that they would redo these focuses to get new models, but Everything past that is great. And then this one focus just wrecks it. Over here in the army tree, most of this is good. You get a lot of national focuses. You get a direct bonus to all of your army leaders. And this includes new ones you recruit. Get this extra +1 to all 4 stats. This is actually really good. The thing about the army tree that sucks, if you go with the Changeling Friend stuff, the Joint Industrial Exchange Program and the Joint R&D Department are you don't get them for long enough. Literally, as soon as the Changelings declare war on Equestria, these 2 focuses undo themselves. And this actually, its biggest bonus is to give me a heavy tank manufacturer for the Griffonian Empire. But because that goes away as soon as they declare war, by the time I could really make use of it to research Heavy Tank 2 and 3, it's gone. So I spent 150 political power and then immediately have to get a new tank manufacturer before I keep researching tanks. And I am heavily encouraged by this tree to go tank. Really light tank, medium tank, tank production, and reliability, and national spirit, tank research, heavy tanks, combined arms warfare, all like everything from here down is for tanks. And losing that is horrific. And then this, by the time you can get this, on average, you will only benefit from it for roughly a year. So you spent an extra 100 days to get a benefit that only lasts a year, at best. At worst, I've seen it where you, by the time you get to this, because of other outside factors that were really out of your control, you only get the Joint R&D Department for 3 months. That's a 3% research bonus for 3 months. I really feel like these shouldn't go away just because the Changelings declared war. I like the fact that I'm one of the few that I'm almost the only nation in the game that can be like, rocket artillery, let's do it, 1008, and have it. I don't like the fact that these 2 I will take this, the Nibblewerfer. I won't take these. I just won't. There's no point. I'll take the Changeling Joint Exercise Decisions, and I wish there were more than 2 of them. I'll take those in a heartbeat. Air Force tree. This is god-awful. Add Technology Fighter 1. If you have this, basically discourages you from researching your Air Force. And if you research your Air Force, it doesn't tell you that it changes these bonuses to researching the next tech, which would make sense. But then the fact that you get 30 here and 50 here, and then it doesn't continue that progression, like you get level 1 strategic bomber. You don't get any free strategic bombers. You don't get any free heavy fighters. But up here, you got them for free. So the fact it doesn't continue this progression discourages you from going to these trees. You basically, for your Air Force, you want to grab this, and if you haven't researched Fighter 1, you grab it. But otherwise, you only grab these in the middle to get the National Spirits and the Doctrine time. And you don't get anything else. So Air Force tree needs a rework. Army tree needs a rework. Navy tree, this very first focus, needs to be like thrown out and something else put in its place. Or at the very least, once I get this focus, I need to be able to get the rest of the tree. But other than that, like, the rest of the Navy tree is fucking great. This is why I'm so irritated. This first focus sucks because it locks you out of the rest of the tree for over a year between the time you start the focus and the time that National Spirit goes away. Yeah, it gives you a free Navy, but because I can't retrofit that Navy, that free Navy is god-awful. That entire free Navy that it gives you is based on early cruiser, early destroyer, and early heavy ship hulls, and the designs for them are terrible. So what I end up getting from that free Navy is stuff like this. This is what I get. 1.8 anti-air, they're going to get sunk by aircraft really fast. And they're heavy attack and piercing. By the time that I get that free Navy from the Griffonian tree, in the multiplayer game we're playing right now, by the time I get this free Navy, all those ships are not only obsolete, but I've built new ones that aren't obsolete. Like, I have battle cruiser 3s, and I even have a super heavy battleship. And I don't when I get this navy, I'm going to be like, hey, I can actually do the rest of these. Yay, I can do the rest of these. I hate the fucking navy it gives you. If you can't tell, I really like the navy in Hearts of Iron because it's actually fun for me, and a lot of it in Equestria War isn't, you know, super well thought out. And then this tree is it's just too long. Some of these focuses need to be cut to 30 days. What I'm asking is the intermediate focuses and the war deck focuses. So Reclaim the North, all of these need to be cut to the 30 days like it is up here. All these intermediate focuses need to be cut to 30 days. The integration focuses, leave them at 50. All these intermediate focuses, cut them to 30s. And then this section up here needs to be like 20 days. All of these should be 20 days. This one's 50 for some reason, and both sides have to take it. This one's 40 for some reason. No, all of this should all be 20 day. And then the other stuff in here should be cut down to 40s. Like, you should really be able to start your expansion sooner. Because most of the time, you really don't get to start this until right up till the Great War. And I understand keeping the world tension down, but you could artificially keep the world tension down by making these actually not generate world tension, which would make sense for them. This would be a civil war. This shouldn't generate that much world tension. Or at the very least, after this initial expansion, these should be quicker. Because all of these, at the start of the game, are puppets. Subject states. These should, so all the focuses around them after you retake them should be quicker, so that you can get to Under Clear Sky and Rising Empire in a reasonable amount of time. Your industry tree up here, you have to take this, and you have to take that, and it's all 50 days. This entire tree takes almost 3 full years to do. It looks short, and it's not, and it irritates me that it's so insanely long to get through this. And it should be shorter. Like, this initial part of it should be shorter. Because by the time I can get it, I'm already down here to Under Clear Sky by the time that I really want to come up here and get this. And I should have gotten it earlier. Just because I'm in this frantic scramble to get these nations back in check. And get them back and start integrating them so I can fight Aquila. So, the Griffonian Empire, it looks great and amazing on the surface. It's really only adequate. Because everything outside of its political tree just takes too long and is not directly involved enough, or it has massive defects that it doesn't show on the surface. Griffonian Empire, it needs an update. It needs, particularly for how long a lot of the focuses take, need to be updated and cut down to 40, 30, and 21 and 20-day focuses instead of these long, drawn-out 50-day ones. Griffonian Republic. Let's move on to it. Griffonian Republic. This is a goddamn fucking amazing nation to play. Anyone who hasn't played it, I will tell you, go fucking play Griffonian Republic. Even their naval tree goddamn makes sense, and it's one of the few that are actually good naval trees. Go play this nation. Air Force tree, same way. It's a well thought out, extremely well designed Air Force tree. I don't even like the Griffonian Republic, but gameplay wise, they are one of my favorite nations to play because of how well thought out and well done it actually truly is. Go play the Griffonian Republic. Like, I wish there was something higher than S tier for the Griffonian Republic because of how well whoever designed them did a fantastic job. I hate the Griffonian Republic as a nation. I love the Griffonian Republic as a play style. All right, who is this? We might run into someone else I haven't played. It might actually be a thing. Who is this? Griffonian host. Who? Where are you on the map? I'm actually gonna have to search for that one. I have never played these guys. So don't trust my rating here. This is just a surface look. I'm assuming that this communist tree goes so yeah, it goes somewhere. It goes down here. I'm assuming this is Raid's Aftermath. This is an economy tree. It's not mutually exclusive with anyone. It doesn't appear. Once it requires a New World Order victory or Raid's Aftermath. So either Raid's Aftermath. Where is New World Order or victory? I don't see those. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't see those. That's interesting. Red Menace? Nope. I don't see those. I don't know where they are. You have to get a stable government. That's how you get it. Struggle for succession, so you have non-aligned and supremacy. I really like the fact there's a lot of non-aligned in Equestria War. It makes it really a lot of fun. I'm assuming this would be... Oh, this is an army tree. This is an army tree. I don't like this army tree. I like the fact it gives you pony power. I don't like it because a lot of this is just research time. It doesn't give national spirits, which is something I highly encourage. It's one of the reasons why I love the New Maryland tree so much. It gives so many national spirits, and it makes sense because it makes them a unique nation to play. But a lot of this looks like it's just research time, and I'm heavily discouraged about a tree that just gives research time because that's just a boring tree to do. Because research time for me, research time only trees feel like a hurry up and wait mentality. Because what I do is I go, okay, well, I'm going to take this focus, so I don't need to research this now. Because I'm just using Depth Archer, because I'm getting a destroyer model research. So if I research this now, it's wasted. I need to go research something else. Then it turns out I actually needed that right then and there. Same thing with the infantry equipment. Like, I don't like the trees that national focus trees that only give research time. Those are just not well designed, in my opinion. But I do like how this feels. I just haven't played them. I'm going to tentatively rate them at an A and say they need tweaking. If someone's played them and can correct me on that, that'd be great. Hawkland! Hawkland is next. No! Redo Hawkland. Again, this feels like they should have a few more islands. Like, there should be some more islands in the middle of the sea here. They should have some more islands. These islands should not be land connected to Vidina at all. You should have to naval invade them. That should be Hawkland's primary method of defense is navy. And Hawkland's national focus tree does not reflect this. This is their navy tree. It is as long as their Air Force and Army tree. It is all... It gives a few dockyards, but other than that, it is just research and a single national spirit, and the national spirit isn't even that good for a Navy-focused nation. Air Force tree. You get 2 national spirits, one for napalm, one for one for ACID generation. Like, these 2 trees should be much more expansive, and this general political tree, like, it's always just a nightmare to play. Because you have to go invade the Dragon Lands, and you just don't have the manpower to deal with the... you don't have the manpower and the capability to really deal with it. And I see the computer do this all the time. Hawkland completely depletes... See, like, its political tree has part of its navy integrated into its political tree. That's cool. But this should be more expansive over here, too. And I feel like, just like New Maryland has a lot of their Air Force integrated directly into their politics, their Navy should be integrated into their politics, and it's not. The other problem with Hawkland is you basically have one choice. You're going to go with Mayor's Group. These other trees basically don't exist. So you have one choice. And it just... Hawkland's boring to play. Like, Hawkland's just boring to play. This tree over here is great. This is a great add-on and expansion for an economy tree and actually helps you build your navy. But at first glance, you don't realize that as a player that this is where you need to go first to build your navy, and then you go over here. And the fact that these focuses have 70-day focuses in them, hidden in them for a minor, makes it even more frustrating. So Hawkland is definitely on the F tier list. Yeah, got a second one on the F tier. That happened. Okay, we're going to do a couple more, and then we're going to call it. Who the hell is that? Is that a formable? Who we got now? I don't know who that is. I feel like I should. I feel like I should know exactly who this is, and I don't. Avian. How's Avian? Okay. Let's go take a look. I don't think I've seen them do stuff. I've seen them be even a good multiplayer game, but I've never actually played them personally. I like in multiplayer games and single player games, I've seen them create this tripartite where they ally with the Eries and create this tripartite pact between the three of them to defend themselves and actually become a decent power block. I've also seen them take over the Eries outright and then core them, and then become a actually powerhouse to deal with, even for the Griffonian Empire at that point. That's got all of this behind it. By the time you attack them, they've actually gotten to the point where they've been a reasonable challenge. Not to mention all the extra land forts. Oh my god, the level of land fort is obscene. So I actually think they would be fun to play. I've just never done it. I don't see anything in here immediately. I'm checking these are 30 and 40. Yeah, the focus times are really good. 60, 40, 50. There's a variety of time that you're going to be putting in here. 35-day focuses. I think they're actually good. They're a landlocked nation, so obviously they don't have a navy tree. That's fine for them. They're landlocked. They shouldn't have one anyway. So I'm actually going to rate them as A, only because I haven't played them. They might actually be S. And now we get to... So this is a formable nation. You have to go Sombra, and he has to rise to get this. And you would think Sombra would be an incredibly interesting, well thought out, expansive nation to play. You'd be wrong! Sombra puts the minor power in a minor. There's no hidden tree here. There's no hidden tree for taking over Equestria or taking over the Changelings. Either you're going to ally with Nightmare Moon, ally with Chrysalis, or you're going to have Radiant as your wife. You can ally with Sinister or Stalingrad, either way, to create the Grey Pact to defend yourself from Equestria and the Changeling lands. That's it. Sombra is terrible. Sombra, I like... The idea of playing Sombra sounds fun. The reality is, redo Sombra from scratch, please. Jackie Clan! I played Jackie Clan. Jackie Clan's fun. Jackie Clan. You are yaks at their worst, and you love it. Your army tree here has a lot of national spirits hidden in it, so it's not all research. Your air tree has air bases, but other than that, it's most... And the national spirits at the bottom, and more air bases. So your air tree is actually kind of thought out. Your army tree is well thought out. Your economic tree has a lot of factories, spirits, additional pony power. It has all the things you'd want in it. And then your political tree here, fucking great. And I believe Jackie Clan even has a tree you don't get to see until after the Yak Civil War. Let me go double check, so I'm not eating my words, because they might not have that anymore. Let's see. Jackie Clan. I think they even have an expanded tree past this point. Past here. Because you get the Real Way, and then you get down here and you get Jacktopia. But I believe... Yeah, you have to own Yakistan here to keep going, but I think Jackie Clan even has a hidden tree or two. Nope, they don't. So it's just it's all visible now. But once you take over, once you smash the other yaks and get past here, you have a lot more playtime and a lot more filler to do. And then you're going to fight the changelings if they live. You're going to fight the changelings if they win the Great War, or you're going to fight Equestria, because Equestria is going to come over here after the Great War and try to buddy with you, and you can flip them off, and then the AI will actually manually war deck your butt. So whoever wins the Great War, you're going to fight them. So Jackie Clan, Minor Nation, excellently thought out, straight up excellent. Amazeballs Nation here that did the crash really? Yeah, the crash messed up my recording equipment badly. I crashed, which is what happened with the video earlier, and it messed up everything. Okay, who's this? I think this is, yep, Catherine. Katarine is fun. The focus tree is really short. I think there's a hidden tree here past this, but it's fun. Like, the gameplay itself is fun. Yeah, there's several hidden trees. Yeah, there's several hidden trees. You're basically playing the Mad Queen. Yeah, she's insane. Like, off her rocker, completely batshit. And either your captain of the guard's going to take over, your priest is going to take over and make communism, your oldest Grand Master of your knights is going to take over, or you're gonna somehow keep it all together. It's fun to play this nation. So straight up S tier. They could use a little rework here and there. I'd really like to see some expansion for Catherine actually, continuing to be the mad, crazy princess. But yeah, I would really like to see an expansion where Catherine gets to keep her power and gets to keep being the mad, crazy princess. But other than that, I think this is a truly fun nation to play. Okay, who's next? Aquila. Oh boy. I like playing Aquila. I'm going to start it with that. I actually thoroughly enjoy playing Aquila. It's a challenge. You have multiple pathways to go. It's legitimately fun. I almost universally, however, will fight for my freedom. Because at the end of the day, fight for your freedom and having the Aquilan Civil War is the more fun route to go. If you're gonna empire expand, victory for the moderates. If you want to go into Stalinism and have fun and make memes, victory for the radicals. If you want to be the bastion of harmony and Griffonia, victory for the harmonists. But victory for the moderates gives you so much extra manpower from army of militias and free healthcare and all this stuff that you can truly go bodies over bullets. As a actual military doctrine, you can do bodies over bullets here. Their economy tree, my biggest complaint is the inclusion of multiple 70-day focuses that really discourage you from getting into the economy tree. The biggest problem I've always had with the economy tree is by the time I get Jewel of the West and get the actual bonuses to Aquila that are here in the city of Aquila, I don't need them. I'm already the new Griffonian Empire. The war's already happened. I've had to go over here to the army tree and do stuff, and the air tree and do stuff. Next complaint, air tree. These are too long just to unlock a manufacturer, and it's really hard to get through the air tree. Same thing with the army tree. It's really hard to get deep into the army tree to make it meaningfully useful, because at the bottom of the army tree are these two things. Garandon Claire for if you're going Aquila tanks, or Apus, no, I can't pronounce it, but it literally says we will bury them in bodies. We have more troops than they have bullets. And it's just a fantastic thing to have, but it takes so long to get there that by the time you get here, either you're the new Griffonian Empire or you're not. Navy tree. Aquila's Navy tree is one of the few Navy trees that's well thought out and designed, and then the implementation just kind of falls apart. So for a start, this could be shortened to 3 because you have battle cruiser, light cruiser, battleship, destroyer, and carrier. This could be shortened, like the battle cruiser one could be cut out, and the light cruiser could be changed to cruisers, and that would cut that down. And then the focus, the times to get these focuses should probably be cut down to 50 or 45 days, because you really get the benefit of the naval. Dockyards are really important to build up your navy, and your starting navy is ass. It's barely 10 ships. So you really need a navy, because you're going to be importing tons of stuff, and you have to fight Skyfall. And even though the Griffonian Empire gets this shit navy, the shit tier navy for free, it's still a ton of ships that you have to deal with. And actually keeping your imports open to get the stuff you need to fight the war is almost an insurmountable task unless you just sacrifice stuff to get your naval focus here. Your 3 different economies, they all work differently, and I appreciate that. So this economic tree is actually fantastic. From here up, this economic tree is fantastic, except for the 70-day focus problem. From here down, this economic tree is kind of like, well, I'm grabbing this just because I can. Your political tree is fascinating and fun. Even if you go second reign of terror, your political tree is still fantastic and fun. So Aquila, I'm going to say needs some tweaking, but it doesn't need much. It just needs some tweaks here and there, particularly for the Navy and Air Force and Army trees. But its political tree and its economic tree needs a little tweaking, but most of it, if not all of it, is absolutely solid. Broadfield. Broadfield, fucking fantastic. There are hidden trees here too. Stuff you can't see. Like you can go Illuminati. Straight up Illuminati. And influence the world around you. This is a fantastic experience to play. Your naval tree is well thought out, well designed. I wish the majors had naval trees this well designed. Your Air Force tree, well thought out, well designed. Extra national focuses, extra air bases, extra national spirits, extra research focuses. Extremely well thought out. I wish they weren't 56-day focuses because you're a minor, but this is extremely well thought out. This whole fucking political tree is just a nightmare to wrap your head around, and it's just fun. Broadfield, fucking glorious. Don't touch this one. It's great. Orlenia. Orlenia, I feel like, has gotten a bad rap. They're actually fun to play. The problem with Olenia, I find, is it just takes too long to do stuff. I think this focus tree should be worked down to fewer days. Their Navy tree actually has dockyards in it and a couple national spirits. Their Air Force tree, it's just mostly research. It needs to their Air Force tree needs some work. Their Army tree needs some expansion, and the 70-day focus problem. They're considered a minor. Why do they have 70-day focuses? Fix that. Their economic tree is very generic, but it works. I wish, again, not 70-day focuses would be great. Their political tree is where they really shine, because you have all of these options to either stay as the king or bring in Velvet, which is the most popular option because people really like Velvet, and Velvet is a fun tree to go through. The communist tree probably could be expanded on. And then the thing here that really irritates me about the political tree is basically either you go here and it just stops, and you can become a puppet of Chrysalis, or you can fight, or you go here and you have fun. Great Holy War. Yes. But because this just ends and there's nothing after this, it's disappointing. And it really feels like this should go further than here. It feels like this was left to chance. I don't know. Let me check. Does Orlenia have... Orlenia is also considered a major. And I don't know anyone who plays this game that considers Alinea a major. I don't know anyone that does that. It's a major on the wiki, but I've always considered it a minor. It needs a rework. It needs some rework and some additions. But it is fun to play. It's just it's B tier. All right, who we got next? Penguins. Penguins are an S tier minor nation. Say that with a straight face. Penguins are an S tier minor nation. This tree looks short and sweet. It doesn't overstay its welcome. You're a minor nation. You don't have a lot going for you. And that's okay. That is straight up okay. I can live with Penguin Land as it is. I wish it had some rework to it. But it's S tier as is, but it needs just a little extension. So I'm going to say A tier because it needs some tweaking. But other than that, it's good. It's actually good. You can see these tier lists starting to fill out now. Some of you are already in the comments screaming at me. But that's the end of part 2. We're going to start part 3 off with Wing Barty. And then we're going to get through the rest of these. And we're going to go over every one of them. So stay tuned.